Hello and welcome back to CK2. Yeah, well, it's April 1st and it was suggested to me that I basically resurrect the old series for a day. But I decided that would be a little bit too cruel in terms of getting people's hopes up. So what I have instead decided to do for today is to continue on with the save file from the birthday stream that I did in February, where I played with the Animal Kingdoms Easter egg. And I had wondered at the time about continuing that on into a series, and the feedback that I did get was generally positive on that note. So yeah, and considering that I am, I think, towards the end of the Tropico series as well, it seems like not a bad time to start doing this. So this is not strictly an April 1st April Fool's video, but you can kind of see how I got to where I am from here. Where I am from there, rather. So we left off, for those of you that didn't watch that live stream, basically with me expanding my kingdom a little bit. I don't think I'd done that much in terms of territorial expansion, though. A big part of the amusement from that stream came from the antics of Queen Beatrice and her quest for immortality, which, if it had worked, would have been kind of hilarious because she was stricken with syphilis. So she would basically have been immortal but also bonkers. And that could have made for a very interesting combination. I've never had a character that was immortal yet also insane at the same time. But sadly it didn't work, so the kingdom was passed down to her son, King Ludwig, and we're now into his reign. Although I thought, just to give this some measure of continuity, not even continuity, just some slight kind of connection with the previous series, we're going to rename this from House Netta to House Quack Jedi. You see what I did there? So this is, yeah, it's not quite the same, but yeah, I think we'll leave the kingdom name. Or we could change that as well, though. I mean, I hadn't even thought about doing that, and this is me now trying to do this on the fly, which is very dangerous. You know what? I'll open that to the comments section. If you have a particularly amusing idea as to what we should rename our primary kingdom title to, put it down in the comments below. So basically, we're still tribal. We're still, I think, stuck with Gavelkind, and I think we will be for a while. I think we basically have to... Yeah, we can't get rid of Gavelkind while we're still tribal. I think that was one of the things I was particularly aiming to do, but that is basically tied to technology, so we can't, like, the option to upgrade that isn't even showing up yet. And I think where is it? It's in the, is it in the intrigue? Yeah, here we go, intrigue menu. Adopt feudalism. So we need absolute tribal organization, and the primary holding we already have upgraded to a level 4 stone hill fort. I've done that much. So it's basically this laws, tribal organization law that we have to keep upping, and there is a cooldown on that. So especially when you're starting as a tribal ruler, I mean, it can have some advantages. It's actually, if you're playing with the old gold start in CK2 and playing up in Scandinavia, for example, as one of the Norse or Finnish peoples, yeah, it's actually a relatively good way early on to get a decent amount of cash, because you can just go and raid people. But you have to go all the way around to the Mediterranean to get some of the rich provinces. I think I can raid with this culture group. Let's see if it'll tell me if I can or not. I can raid infidel neighbours for loot. So yes, I can raid, and that just really then depends on, are there good places to go and raid? And the answer is not really. There's not a lot of rich provinces around. India seems like one of the more moderately wealthy areas at the moment. We can't get through to any of the Mediterranean areas because we don't have any Mediterranean provinces. So if we do go raiding... Alright, did I do that in the live stream? I can't remember. I think I might have done a bit of raiding into the Kermani Empire, which is one of the few de jure empires that actually exist. I don't know if there's any other imperial titles in creation at the moment. Potentially we could create one. We'd have to have all of sub-Saharan Africa and basically Arabia. And of course there is the option of creating my own empire title. I have 3 kingdom titles and a big enough or a big enough realm. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Being an empire can be useful because you can then have vassal kings, and that allows you to rule really large areas. But vassal kings can also end up being really powerful. So generally speaking, as an empire, I've usually waited until the point where I can create viceroys and just give viceroy kingdom titles to people. Because at that point, it's not hereditary. You basically get to give out the kingdom titles on a rolling basis. So, what's our first action? Well, that's a retinue. Is that a raised... that's just a fleet that was sat there for some reason. That's going to be a retinue. Raiders... Unless, did I have trained troops? No, I wasn't. Yeah, I had raid organised selected, so I don't know. Are they retinues then, or yes, they are retinues. Oh, I see it. It just marked them as raiders because they'd set to raider stance. Right, that's fine. So. My court chaplain basically wants me to possibly burn somebody. High Chiefess, who is my aunt. The game never particularly seems to like. Sometimes it just throws these events at you, and it's just your court chaplain getting the urge to burn somebody. But in this case it might be because of the lunatic trait. There might have been some event that popped up and kind of, you know, some unorthodox comment that they then made in response to some event that popped up for them in the background. But yeah, I've also sometimes seen they'll have traits that make you think, okay, yeah, it kind of makes sense that like they're possessed or something like that. But in this case, I think it might be the lunatic trait. Let's bring out the branding iron. We won't off with their heads. We won't pluck their feathers on this particular occasion. But the smell would be horrible, though, because, you know, we're all ducks. So apply branding iron to feathers. Oh, I don't even want to think about the smell. That would be awful. Right, I don't have a lot of holdings, do I? I'm not particularly militarily powerful. This is one of the downsides, the huge downsides of Gavelkind, is that you don't end up with huge personal holdings because they're constantly split off unless you're just murdering all your inheritors, which I've tended not to do too much. I personally feel like that's a bit too risky in terms of, you know, a disease coming along and killing a bunch of members of your family, which is kind of topical at the moment, kind of in a grim way, or, you know, somebody assassinates somebody and suddenly you're left with no heirs whatsoever. So yeah, that can be a bit of a problem. I tend not to take that course of action too often. Right, cheery. I could gain the trait lustful. Do I particularly want the trait lustful? Which I think that gives minus piety, which is alright at the moment actually. Intrigue +1. Intrigue's already pretty good. I don't think we need to. We'll just take the neutral option in that one. So no success on the hunt there. It's currently my focus. Also, I was plotting to kill somebody. Why am I plotting to kill somebody? I don't know. I don't remember. There was a reason for this. You can tell I didn't sit down and watch the entire live stream in preparation for this again. Yeah, I can't remember why I did that. I presumably had a reason, but I don't seem to have much chance of it actually following through. Right, somebody wants to arrange a marriage between a duck and a cat, which seems vaguely sacrilegious, but oh, we're not even of the same religion. They're Tusian, and I've got no idea what that means. That's the only downside of doing the kind of randomization, which is a neat option, but you kind of lose track of all the familiar stuff. 24, not married to anyone. She actually has got a good martial stat. We'll decline that, and maybe let's do the in-court marriage option. Maybe we could get her married to... Oh, no, we don't have anyone with a particularly good martial stat, but let's marry her to... Oh, there really isn't anyone good, is there? He's at least a commander. Oh, it has to be matrilineal. Okay. She's losing a bunch of prestige, but not that it matters. Oh, she's a half-sister. That's possibly why they're asking about. Yeah. But not of the actual dynasty. Not sure why she's ended up with... I don't know. Don't know why she's ended up with a different dynasty name. Anyway. Now we do have another kingdom title that we could try and grab that would make us a bit more powerful, and it would involve basically cleaning up this bit of territory that we've already got. The alternative is pushing west into Radjatha, or Radjaha rather. I don't know why I wanted to stick a T in there. And they're tribal as well, but they might end up being a bit more of a pain to deal with. It sort of partly depends. Okay, they don't seem to have any major allies, but these are smaller targets to begin with. Once it gets onto, oh gosh, Sphinx's knee. That's not at all an awkward word. Sphinxesny? Let's go with Sphinxesny. That is slightly more, you know, it slightly more makes sense to say. Yeah, they're entirely in a different kind of religion area, but so are my neighbours to the west, actually, as it turns out. So either way, we're going to be dealing with religion difference issues, which we kind of already are in some bits of my territory already. Anyway, my wife wants to be a councillor. Well, she's considerably more talented as a chancellor, but we would risk severely pissing off the Duke of Axum here, who I think is one of my more Oh, I was going to say one of my more powerful, but no, he's only got the 3 bits of territory. Who are my most powerful vassals? I'm just going to quickly check that before I start annoying people. Realm Tree, that's the one we want. So Axum's 3rd on that list. Alodia is the 1st. They have rather more territory. So they're not that powerful overall. Just checking he's also not in any factions. Because this is one of the... I think I was trying to say this and I got slightly sidetracked, as I do. But yeah, factions are much more of a problem when you're Gavelkind. Just because it's harder to build things up militarily. You know what? I will take the risk because she's going to be that much more talented at actually improving relations with my vassals. And already she's improved relations with... well, we haven't even unpaused and already this has popped up. A non-aggression pact with Busaso. High Chief of Berbera. No. We might come to conquer them at some point, but they're not really, you know, that's like one province. So what can we do against Gondar here? Which I think is a title from the unscrambled game. Don't think we'll be able to... like, people have to really like you. You don't get to peacefully vassalize people very often. Force vassalization. That might be my best option. Yeah. Oh, we'll lose 1,000 prestige. Good lord. We could take the lesser option of making forcing them to pay tribute. It's not quite the same as tributary state. Tribute just is for the lifetimes of the respective rulers. If you can get lots of people around you to pay you tribute, that's actually quite a useful source of income. But given that we're a tribal, no one around me is going to be particularly rich. Could just do the old border dispute. But again, we don't really have the prestige for that. We're still climbing out of the prestige hole right now. Well, Ludwig is still quite young. We might well go with that then. That's only 100 prestige. And that gets me... call everyone to arms. That gets me a bit of prestige from the war and a little bit more income. I think we've got enough troops to take them on. Oh, that was... and hopefully more prestige and a bit more cash will let me deal with potentially troublesome vassals a bit better. A bunch of people saying, no, we're not joining the war. A couple of people have, though. When you're tribal, you don't call up vassal troops directly. You basically invite them all as allies, essentially, and they have the option to say no. And their troops will then act independently. But if you're lucky, they might attach to your troops and follow them around. But just with the troops I have available, sort of a... oh dear. Plotting to kill my wife, which is be a bit of a bummer actually. She's quite talented. Diplomacy skills very good indeed. Hooray! Successful rituals. Okay, I vaguely remember those events. Right, he's just walking around sieging at the moment. Hopefully he'll suffer some attrition. A bunch of people have got some troops raised, but they're not helping me, unless these are all literally just retinue troops. They appear to be marching to go and siege. don't know. It's hard to tell. I think they're going to try and lift that siege. Sieges never take very long for tribal holdings. They're not especially well fortified. Well, that's allied troops. The actual numbers of defenders can be relatively high, but yeah, the actual fort level rarely is. You can increase it a bit, as I've done in my home territory. I think my fort, what's my fort level? 2.0. Not going to take too long to chew through for... Oh! Okay, that is supremely weird. Well, OBS, I can see in the little preview, OBS is still recording this, and when I do things like scroll around, it's apparently still scrolling the game around, but on my actual screen, everything is black. That's really weird. Give me a moment to try and figure out what's going on. Okay, we're back. I really genuinely don't know what happened there. Some kind of display driver crash. My second monitor was fine. It was still recording the client. OBS was still recording just fine. Although I did notice for some reason as well that I'd had the cursor capture turned off. So if you're wondering why you couldn't see a mouse cursor in that first part, that was why. You should now be able to see it. That was entirely my fault. But yeah, I've not had that happen before. I updated my display drivers the other day, so that might have been it. Now I'm up to date with the latest Radeon ones, and I've heard there's maybe one or two issues with them, so maybe I shouldn't have. Anyway, we're back, and I was fortunately able to get to the quick save option using the OBS preview window, despite the lack of mouse cursor. And yeah, here we are. Now, this is a bad time to replace my marshal, perhaps. But if I don't... oh, it basically has the same modifier. I don't know if I've even ever noticed that through all the years of playing this game. It's basically the local revolt risk is the same either way. That's really annoying. Well, we'll chuck him out on his ear anyway. That's clearly not acceptable. And, oh gosh. In terms of martial skills, we don't have any particularly good candidates, do we? We need some more capable warriors. Right, hopefully these allied troops have attached themselves. If I can get a good terrain advantage, we have equal numbers of troops, so it should be okay. I don't know if I have enough to... where am I looking? Not intrigue. Military, there we go. No, not even a small mercenary band. Oh well. I'll tell you, by the way, of a game that has caught my eye in terms of maybe doing another McJedi saga. And that is, of course, Mount and Blade 2, Bannerlord, which has just come out in early access. It's not even the full release yet, but I was aware of it in terms of like the teaser trailers from previous years, and then I kind of lost track of it. And so when it was released, it sort of took me by surprise. And I was actually watching Circumflexes play it a bit yesterday, which was yeah, he seemed to be enjoying it, but it also seemed to be very much the classic Mount and Blade experience. So that's a possibility, because that's a game, or at least in Warband, and I think the original Mount and Blade as well, where you could potentially create your own entire kingdoms. You could work your way up, essentially. But I'd have to maybe go back and play Warband a bit to refamiliarise myself, because I haven't played that game in a very long time. Obligate the vassal? I don't know if that's going to work or not. None of my people are particularly loyal. In this case, though, it did work. Even though she was the one I had branded. The smell of cooked, lightly seared duck, you know, wafted through. Once the smell of burnt feathers had cleared away, of course. Right. There we go. We're going to have to retake that province there, of course. Oh, somebody else needs to focus as well. I think we're going to have to get some people going with the martial foci, because, yeah, in terms of troops, we're a little bit lacking right now. A little bit. Oh, of course, he's now available as a commander, isn't he? Now that he's no longer my chief marshal. I'm almost tempted to hit that button, but we don't have enough troops to waste. Call in allies. Oh, let's actually try and click that button again and see if anyone's willing to be a bit more cooperative this time. No, guess not. Also, they're sieging my capital, which is not so good, but I have a lot more territory overall than they do. Why would you march down to... But when we've just finished... Oh, I don't know. Super duper game logic things. Right, yes, there we go. White Peace. He will become my tributary temporarily. He'll pay tribute. Oh dear. All port counties experience tax collecting issues. Well, I don't have any directly myself, so that's going to affect my vassals more than anything. Okay, well, we'll see if... I don't know if you ever find a definitive answer with that. Right, this is the guy we just found, signed a non-aggression pact with. Lose 50 prestige. I think we'll take the broken pact option. He already doesn't like me, so I'm not sabotaging a particularly important relationship there. Right, am I paranoid? Is this why I'm getting this event? Yes, I am in fact paranoid. And we can't really afford to lose the gold, so no. I'm just going to trust her word. And also just, you know, the fact that my character is paranoid kind of suggests that they're just sort of imagining things. That's all but the retinue. We could in fact have way more retinue troops than we have got, but yeah. Should I say we have a prisoner? No, we have no prisoners. Okay. Also, we should invest into some tech. Popular customs, noble customs. We don't have any feudal vassals at the moment. Let's sit on those points for now, I guess. Might as well put the points into shipbuilding at least. And I guess cavalry we might as well bump up as well. We could also compose a book, but that can end up being quite expensive. Great Tribal Festival, that's definitely expensive. Hold a summer fair. Yeah, we're not really exactly swimming in the cash, are we? Right, who is it this time? The wife of a deceased chief. She's no one particularly important. Throw her in the dungeon! Maybe she can buy her way out. I should have done that with the other one, actually. She might have wanted to buy her way out, but this one has minus 43 gold. Oh, okay, she's going to be in there a while. Hey, you know, if we need somebody for a tribal sacrifice... Right, that's just... oh, I thought it was just light infantry. No, it's light infantry and archers. We can probably afford one of these ones that costs prestige. Retinue cap usage 220. Let's go for that. I won't pile them all on at once, but yeah, more retinue is definitely useful. Oh, this is another rain festival thing, isn't it? Share the wealth of the capital. Food to the people. Okay, that cost me a big chunk of prestige, but not money. Well, now I can't afford most of those prestige retinue units anyway. Right, a new wee babby. A wee babby son. Maybe I should put my focus into stewardship. Or rulership, rather. Get the stewardship up. For a time. Will impact on the number of troops I can raise. But not a huge amount. My base marshal is pretty decent. Right, let's go hunting again. I love that cake is one of the names in the name list for the ducks. Yes. So, how much are we actually getting? It won't be that much. Tribute. We're actually getting as much, if not more, from tribute than I am from my own direct domain. Although at the moment, part of that is droughts and that peasant revolt. Yeah, thanks, ex-marshal. You kind of screwed me over in terms of my income there. So that will go back up again a bit, but it won't be any time soon. We've also got all this independent duke here. Are you allied with High Chief of Berbera, which is over there? Chief of Afar, allied with Gondar. Or is that just a non-aggression pact? That's just a non-aggression pact, that's not a full alliance, okay. So they'd be a next one to go after, and also maybe Shua, who... That's all non-aggression pacts, so that's fine. That could just be outright conquest. What's the... De jure duchy. That's currently held by... Chief who is under the Chief of Semien, which again is an existing duchy title from the normal game. I think they've done a bit of conquesting themselves actually. We're at such a lax state of our realm laws. If I can, where am I looking? Oh yes, it is here. That people can just basically go and do all their own conquesting and ignore calls to arms and all that kind of thing. Centralization. I could pop that up a bit. It doesn't really have any supporters though. But I don't think the council gets to... Yeah, war declaration is the only thing they have any particular say in. So whether they support it or not is kind of irrelevant in able to actually being able to pass it. It's just they'll have a negative opinion if I do decide to pass it, potentially. But I might well hang on 813. I don't know if that will impact my ability to... It should make it possible for me to then change that in 813. I don't know if it has any particular legal, like, people can't... It doesn't change the ability of my vassals to declare their own wars and that sort of thing. Oh dear. Gained depressed. Depressed is not a good one. There are no antidepressants in this day and age, sadly. Or at least the day and age of the game. You know what I mean. This totally realistic game where we're playing as anthropomorphic ducks that control the northeast of Africa. Yes, completely realistic. I mean, I've already got up to a domain size of 7. I think having the vassal limit is honestly more useful at the moment. So we'll leave that be. Let's speed things up a bit. There's not a lot else happening right now. We're kind of at that stage of development of being tribal where outside of wars and stuff there's not a lot to do. Right, you need education. Dylan Quack Jedi. That's such an awful, like, it does not even particularly count as a pun. I don't know, it's just bad. I'm also getting the modifier being at peace for too long, so actually, yeah, let's go for just conquest, border dispute. No, we don't have enough personal wealth. Okay. Don't know why we need personal wealth for that one. This is all going to be the same, isn't it? Yeah, I'll only be able to extort tribute. Let's just send these guys. Let's just put them on a raiding stance. That will satisfy the need of, you know, not being at peace for too long. You can just do a quick bit of raiding and that satisfies that, basically. There's nobody around, however, that does particularly give us lots of... we could do that, you know. We could actually raise some ships. Properly go raiding over to India. Oh, no we can't. Nobody has any ships. Where did I get the 12 ships from then? I kind of wish I hadn't... Oh, wait, didn't I previously hold one of these bits of land and I'd erased the ships and then someone else inherited? That's why I wasn't going to disband the ships. Oh, now I regret disbanding the ships. Nobody has any ships. Oh, I really am only stuck to raiding my neighbours. Oh dear. Somebody settle down from the nomad life. People plotting to kill my son Dylan. How much cash will we have come back with? I bet basically nothing. Well, can't really do anything about that because I don't know. It's like the one bit of land that I don't think I'm... No, I won't lose that. That's part of Mercuria, isn't it? And I've got Mercuria. I wonder if I had that directly held that I'd be able to keep that without losing it. Oh, no, that's retinue troops. That's the wrong thing. Don't disband the retinue troops, you fool. Wants to fabricate a claim on High Chiefdom to overthrow, and they would like my support. The High Chief actually kind of likes me, so I'm going to say no. I won't get involved in that particular bit of internal politics. Right, arrange a rain dance. Sure. And also we need a new advisor. High Chief of Axum, High Chief of Damot. Axum is the more powerful. They're both going to be not particularly loyal councillors though, but we'll try and appease him with... and the advisor slot doesn't hold any particular... You know, you can't put them down on the map to do stuff. Let's just free them from prison. We're not getting any cash from them anytime soon. Be a bit mean to execute them just because they're broke. A bit mean. If I could banish them and take their money, but not that they have any money to take, but banishment can be quite a handy tool at times. Here's a tip, actually. If you ever get, a religious uprising, it can be quite tempting to execute and just be done with it. But quite often, if you banish them instead, they'll have quite a sizable pot of cash for you to confiscate from them. Who's at war with who? Oh, they're having a peasant revolt. Okay. Oh, well, they went ahead and did it anyway. Apparently now they slightly like me a bit better, but they might well have liked me more if I'd backed their plot. That also means I need a new marshal. Beaky! Who... how did they come in again? Oh yeah, that was right, we had the cat marriage. The weird heretical cat marriage, but it's produced somebody with pretty decent martial stats. Cats and ducks living side by side? Madness. Let's bring someone in to get married to them that also has a decent martial score. Sometimes you can get these little dynasties going within your own court that specialise in certain things. It could be quite handy. Especially if you're then able to give them land later on. I'm going to just keep training people in the martial style. And yet another... Wow, you're really keen on accusing people of heresy. Right, this is the High Chief of Semien, who's one of the more powerful ones, so I'm just Ludwig, not Ludwig. I'm Ludwig even. Yeah, Dewey, you're just going to... Oh, I see. It's that I was not reading that right at all. My opinion of them changes by minus 100. His opinion of me changes by minus 25, but that's the least bad option in terms of opinion changes, I think. Unless we just burn them. He won't be able to have an opinion about it then. Who's his heir going to be? Yeah, they're not going to like me very much if I burn their father. We're just going to go with let him go free. In this case, he's actually... no, that's the... No, that is the right person we're looking at. Yeah, he's actually zealous. That's interesting. I'm not entirely sure why he's been accused. My High Chief Priest just likes watching people burn or get branded or whatever, apparently. And we can't really replace him. The only other suitable person has a learning score of 0. So that's good. Right, well, let's do a little bit more cleanup. Let's, I guess, we only really have extort tribute as an option. Oh, that's annoying when it interrupts you like that. Yeah, extort tributes. That's the nice bonus of the council being like, yeah, okay, sure, let's do that. Get a bit of practice for my warriors. Right, there we go. I should really have the martial thing at some point so that you can learn some battlefield tactics. Anyway, there are many legends about the great man whose blood I share. A particular story has been circulating at court recently. Focuses on an epic feat where Cake proves his strength of character. The more I hear, the more I wish to emulate him. I can gain zealous. Because we do have a bloodline going for those that that might have forgotten that. A slightly martial one. Plus 15 combat, a personal combat skill, a bit of extra prestige. Plus 2 vassal opinion is not a huge anything, but you know, it's better than minus. Oh, my spy chief has been attacked. Okay. I think he was just doing the normal spy chief things as well. Anyway. Oh, for goodness sake! Dewey! Dewey! Does your bloodthirst know no bounds? This is ridiculous. Right, who's he accusing this time? Dylan Honker, who is of no particular importance. Decent marshal, though. We'll bring out the branding iron. Actually, no, this one will... No, yeah, okay, let's brand him. Once again, the smell of burning feathers wafts through the wherever we do the branding. I don't know, do we have a special branding room? We probably do at this point. It seems to be such a frequent occurrence. Chief Kala of Nubia has declared the... Oh, too many messages. Yeah, we've got a bunch of prisoners, okay. The Dunstan Nastansian? I can't even read that. That's too many syllables. Dunsanetistan. Okay, that's the guys to the north. Okay. Right. Well, good luck with that, is all I can say. More rain dances, that's fine. And we've won that war wholesale, so offer peace. Enforce demands, so they're now going to pay me tribute, which is again a little bit more cash. Not a huge amount. Obviously it's costing us money to raise our troops. And also puts off the debuff for another little while. There's no way, like, once you do that and you've stood down troops, the only way to stand down a commander is to transfer them and do that, and it's a little bit finicky. Oh, interesting. Okay, two of my dukes have formed an alliance, which could be a problem if they decide to throw their weight around a bit. Not that anyone particularly has at the moment. Right, childhood focus. Prisoners. We had a bunch of prisoners, some of which we might well be able to ransom. 98 gold, potentially. And then we'll just release the rest. That's a nice big chunk of gold. We don't have a huge amount we can spend gold on at the moment. I wonder if it's worth trying to... Who's the air? Okay, they've... Ah, that's not too bad. So this is Dylan Quack Jedi, who's the current heir. Let's see if we can find someone to suitably betroth them to. It's a good thing they didn't try and do... I mean, the base game doesn't so much do this either, but, you know, if you ended up with some weird duck-cat hybrid or a duck-horse hybrid, it might look a bit horrifying with how the game handles portraits. Oh, they're good. 32 though. Ugh. The heck is that thing? A weird kind of hairless ape-looking creature. Ugh. Where the heck are you? Ugh. Oh, that's gross. Oh, look at them. Oh, disgusting. Oh, that's properly turned my stomach, that has. Yuck. Ugh. Anyway. Right, we're in danger of doing that joke to death very quickly. Right, it's a match for my son. That's what we were doing. Given that we have other kids... Yeah, let's go for that. She's a little on the old side in terms of producing her own heirs, but if they do... I'll take the prestige there. If they do, then... which, you know, there's not a complete impossibility. If they do, they might have some decent stats, because she's just got good stats all across the board. It's not like she's even got sharp or genius. Well, she has got shrewd, though. That's a nice bump. But her base stats are obviously also quite good. Right, we can also apparently usurp that. I've only got the one High Chief title at the moment. That would demote them to being a count, essentially. 153 gold? It's a lot of gold. But it would give me then a de jure claim on taking their territory. And that ducal title, okay, that'll get distributed to someone else at the point where I die, unless I give it to someone else already. That was Shua, wasn't it? Which is that there. That's already Antalo, which is part of that duchy. So I could give them potentially another duchy title. In fact, they would probably quite like me if I gave them that duchy title. I'm almost certainly they'll have Desires. Yeah, Desires the High Chieftain of Ashua. Tell you what, because we have been trying to stabilise things and get my vassals to like me a bit more, it doesn't give them a de jure claim on any extra territory. It's purely a title related to territory they already hold. So it's not really making them any more powerful. So we will grant them that, and that will then give them a substantial opinion boost. So there we go. I've bought them off, and it really didn't cost me anything except, well, it did. 150 gold, still quite a lot. Right. We're getting to do pretty decently in terms of prestige. Let's raise some more retinue troops. Let's have another one of those, and veteran warrior retinue, and let's have another cavalry retinue. We're actually now, with the retinue troops we have, getting towards having a reasonably decent sized force to amend with the troops that I can raise myself. Yeah, that war didn't seem like it was going to go very well. So how are we doing for cash at this point? So yeah, my domain income has bounced right back up. But that's not a terrible amount of extra income on a yearly basis. Extorting tribute really is a very useful tool that, frankly, in the past I've overlooked rather a lot, but I'm not even sure if it was possible in the older version I was playing with. I'm pretty sure that was a later edition in the old McJedi series. Right. Let's go with duty for a change. We also need a new spy master. That's fine. Chief of Dotawo, we'll take you. Peace for too long again, so let's break out the raiding party. Break out the raiding stance, rather. And I think we're also getting quite close to wrapping this episode up as well. Oh, that was me not paying attention. Of course we're on the faster, you know. But that's fine. These troops will replenish. And we've satisfied that that thing of being at peace for too long. We've removed that penalty. So, you know, I lost a little bit of prestige from losing the fight, but it doesn't really matter. It was purely about getting rid of that penalty. Also, we can rebalance that. There we go. They do tend to all clump up on one flank for some reason. Ask politely. They don't like me very much, and it is my spy master, so they decide they really don't like me. Oh dear. Yeah, having a spy master that doesn't like you is not necessarily a good thing. Let's buy their affection with a little bit of cash. That'll do. I think next time I'll actually try a bit more in the way of conquest, but we'll need to build up some cash for that. But having these guys paying me tribute is gonna help towards that, definitely. Yeah, more people to... Yep. Oh, someone's having a revolt, but that's fine. The peasants are revolting. I wonder if it's worth proselytizing a bit. That might reduce the... I don't need to proselytize in my own lands, but I don't know. Let's send my court chaplain down there. Dewey, you can do something other than burning people. How about that? Or wanting to burn people. I've not really let him burn many people. We've done more brandings than burnings. See if there's anything we can do in the intrigue. Tribal festival. I could search for a smith. I don't know if we have enough cash even for a basic set of armor or a basic weapon yet. But those are certainly very useful. Prosperity festivals, monthly piety plus. Yeah, sure. Can't go wrong with more piety. Are we still depressed, by the way? We are. If I turn to theology for a bit, you get the meditation events which allow you to remove things like stress, depression, and other negative traits. Drunkenness, and even lunacy. Although sometimes that one can take a while. Oh, there we go. They have produced an heir. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, well, never mind. It's a cat with the feet of a duck. You can't see the feet because they're off screen, obviously. Oh well, we've corrupted my pure and wonderful bloodline. Hopefully it was worth it for the potential for good stats. Oh, also laws. We can change tribal organisation now, can't we? Yes, everyone's against it. No, everyone's for it. Okay, we've actually gotten people to... if I click council consideration, that means they'll approve it, right? And hopefully they'll then like me. Start votes. So, yeah, you can do it when you don't have to do it that way. And I guess that kind of makes the council a bit more inclined to view you favourably if you're putting things to the vote. I guess? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. Anyway, so I think we will wrap up there. Yeah, this is just about getting on for an hour. So, as I said, suggestions for renaming Nettany. Can't do anything about the symbol, the shield, without editing the save file directly. But in terms of the name, yes, we can absolutely rename that. So put your thinking caps on and see what you can come up with. Next time, I think we'll try and just stabilize things, keep working towards getting out of tribal, and at some point we have, of course, got the goal of reforming this religion, which I think it can be reformed. I think. Can't actually remember if we're... Maybe we are already a reformed religion, as it were. I don't know. Anyway, I know I had the idea of having a reformable religion when I started the series, but what might not actually be possible with this religion. Never mind, even if we can't do that, well, we'll still have fun, hopefully. So, if you have enjoyed this video, you can do all the usual things down underneath it, and of course, as always, stay tuned for more.